You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, so let's get started with Batman.
So Brian, Batman.
Yo.
It's kind of a Garrett comment. Just the trade, Myles Garrett trade to the Rams. But it took my mind with the Packers somewhere very quickly. But the first thing is that most people are saying that the Rams, I'm not even going to take time to look at this, but apparently Myles Garrett is going to allow them to be a four-man rush like they were in Cleveland. I don't know what their other three rushers are. I kind of don't care. I'm very surprised they got rid of Hurst, a younger guy who could probably full rush and do the same thing. And they'll set that out and use their safety. They'll probably put in another safety or another DB in there to kind of help that in, which is something that I think that the Packers might want to. I think they've been going that way. But my question to you with that, all of that being said, so Rams have four rushers. Supposedly that's what's going to make them amazing. Of course, Garrett's going to have 27 sacks. No, he's not, because he's going to get double teamed and the other guys better produce. I get that, just like with Micah, right? Micah's sack numbers and whatever weren't great. His hurries were there, but other guys needed to step up. Gary did it first, and then he fell off a cliff, and now he's with the Cowboys. But what four players do you see as those four rushers? If we're going to have a successful defensive line attacking the quarterback when Mike is back, who are the four rushers that you expect? Batman out.
Well, that is the question, and I honestly would be kind of shocked if we did end up with four. And what I mean by that is four that we feel good about. I mean, you hope that it's Micah and Van Ness, and then the 2 fourth-round picks in Sorrell and Sutton. That's what we're hoping. But it would be surprising to me if the 2 fourth-round picks ended up being solid pieces. No, I guess the bar is set a little bit lower if you're just kind of looking for a Kingsley level of player. But even still, again, Barron Sorrell was relatively bad, which I just got done talking a lot about Van Ness for tomorrow's podcast. It is very annoying to me after listening to the amount of hate that Van Ness gets to remember how much everybody loves Barron Sorrell. Barron Sorrell was not good. But hopefully he will take a big step, and hopefully Sutton will just be solid as a rookie and will be set. And remember, Brenton Cox is there, and I think he sets a decent floor to, he could, maybe we already have him as a Kingsley level of guy, and so we really just need one of the two, in which case I would feel much better about it. Either Sorrell taking a step or Sutton being a solid enough player. So I guess maybe that's the positive way. So then the question becomes, if you're doing four, are you betting on the two being better than Brenton Cox, or do you say that one of them is and one of them isn't, and Brenton Cox is probably going to be one of them, and then it's just a question of which one are you betting on? I mean, the safer bet, I suppose, mathematically would be to have Cox in there. Although, the team is going to prioritize the fourth-round picks. So Brenton Cox is going to be the guy that, he's going to have to be quite a bit better in order to get the roster spot. But I don't know, if I were to guess, I mean, probably for the same reason I'd say Barron Sorrell, just because he's year two, and they're going to, although, it's a different defensive coordinator, but still, they would probably give him a little bit more. I guess I don't know. I'm ping ponging back and forth here, because then you think, if Sorrell wasn't good, then the odds are relatively high that Sutton is just a better player. I don't know. I mean, we know who two are, and we know who the two are that we want to be the next two, and that's Sorrell and Sutton. And it really just is fingers crossed that those guys reach their potential, because it's relatively high. I mean, we we were excited about Sorrell for a reason. He's not a bum. Talented dude for sure. And same with Sutton, who's, I think as a second-round pick, it would have been a little bit more ho-hum, but remember, he was a second-round pick talent. So, that's kind of the hope, and now we just kind of wait for training camp to see how that materializes, I guess.
Hi, Ryan. It's Randy in Minnesota.
Yo.
Just chiming in for what it's worth on the big trade with Garrett in L.A. I'm going off the side as I think it's a terrible trade. You get right down to it. It reminds me of two specific trades in history, and one involves Green Bay and, surprisingly, the L.A. Rams. That's when, I believe in 1974, Green Bay traded for John Hadl, quarterback. They traded a first, second, and third in the 75 draft, and then a first and a second in the 76 draft for a broke-down quarterback, basically, and to try to get over the hump to get back in the playoffs. What that did was ensure that Green Bay was going to suck basically for the next 15 years. LA gave up a lot to get Garrett.
Yes.
And giving a burst on top of the draft collateral is just way too much. Now, I'm sure the Browns will do the Brown thing and draft 3 punters, but anyhow, and the other trade.
Well, yeah, that is a good point. The Browns are going to, it is hard to believe the Browns are going to make the Rams look bad in the trade because they're just a stupid team and they're not going to do well. And it's unlikely anyone's going to look back and go, wow, the Browns really got the better here. Even though I think the Browns did make the better trade, the Rams are just a better organization and they're just going to have a better team. And it is what it is.
Was when Dallas traded Herschel Walker to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
He came in, I think his first game as a Viking was against the Packers, and he ran for, I think, close to 200 yards, just beat up the Packers tremendously. But that trade pretty much took Minnesota out of contention for anything for quite some time, and it allowed Dallas, obviously, to build their Super Bowl championship teams in the 90s. So I think LA kind of put themselves in a bad spot for the future. You can't always play for today. You got to be thinking about tomorrow. And this all-in thing, to me, is not worth it. If Stafford goes out, their season's done.
You're done. Yeah, exactly.
Who's to say?
Well, and there's a good chance he doesn't come back, and then your window's just closed, and you got Garrett, which is cool, but for what? I mean, it's that fickle is the problem.
Garrett won't have a similar injury that Micah had, and then they're really hurting.
Right.
So to me, it's just way too much collateral, or not collateral, but capital to give up for one man. And the fact that you can't re-sign anybody now, probably because of the salary cap, and you've got big names out there, I just don't see this going well. It's fun right now. This time next year, they're going to be looking at what the hell do we do? Anyway, that's my thoughts on it, and go Pack, go. Goodbye.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not alone in that. I really thought I was going out on a limb saying what I said, and that nobody would agree. But it's a little bit more. At least with this audience, I haven't really seen anybody agree on social media, but there's been several people that have held the same kind of contention. And, again, if they win a Super Bowl, nobody's going to care. Nobody will ever, even if they're bad for the next 10 years, everyone's going to say it was a great trade because, you do this to win Super Bowls and they won a Super Bowl, and so you can't criticize them or something. I don't know. But as much as we don't want it to be the case, entire seasons are fickle. We've seen how many times good teams have just been terrible because a guy got hurt. When Rodgers went out, season was over. That was it, the whole season. And Micah went out. Essentially, our season was over. And those things happen. It happens every year. Chiefs season was ruined because of a Mahomes injury. The Denver Broncos had a real good chance of winning the Super Bowl, and their quarterback ends up getting hurt in the last, minutes of a game, and they end up not going to the Super Bowl as a result, and that ended their season. So it's way too fickle of a thing to bet on this year being, the year, and everything's fine now. That's just, whatever. I mean, do whatever you want to do. And again, if they win a Super Bowl, everyone's going to say they were geniuses or whatever, but it's just not the right way to go about things, in my opinion. But the Rams obviously see Stafford as their golden child and their golden opportunity, and feel like they're not going to get another guy like Stafford for who knows how long. And so we got to do everything we can to win while we're here. And to some degree, I get it. I still don't agree with it, but I understand what they're doing.
Hey, Pack Daddy, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Yo.
Today is Thursday, and there still hasn't been any news about any trades happening when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. And, when it comes to the possibility of Green Bay making a trade with Arizona to get Sweat, I just have a gut feeling that I think there's a better chance of it happening than not. And I say that because, Arizona has already turned down trade offers from Tampa and Dallas. And it's hard for me to believe that they would turn those down if they didn't already have something, maybe a better offer in the works, because beggars can't be choosers. And I know there's a line that they probably have set as far as what is acceptable trade value, but I don't know. I feel like I said, I feel in my gut that I think Green Bay is going to get him. And it's not that I think Green Bay has to go get him. I just think he's a cog in the wheel that's probably necessary when you look at the depth of the defensive end for him. So, and with Gannon being the new DC, I'm sure he is definitely jockeying for them to go get Sweat, and understandably so. So we shall see, but no news yet, but anything can happen anytime, any place. So we'll just have to be patient and wait it out. So for ours, I'm going to go on the record and say I think they're going to get them, and I approve this move. So.
Yeah, well, the one big counter, I think, to your point would be that they're just not trying to move them. You mentioned, beggars can't be choosers, and they're turning down things, and why else would they do it? Well, the reason would be that they're genuinely not trying to. I mean, my understanding is that Sweat is holding out and saying he's refusing to come back, but the other team posture, and we saw this with Gutekunst and Rodgers. Rodgers like, I'm not coming back, trade me. And what did Gutekunst do? No, you're coming back, or you just don't play. I don't really care, but we're not trading you. So we're not giving in to your temper tantrum. That's not going to happen. And I think that's what Arizona is trying to do right now. Now it's a standoff, and so the question becomes, can they hold their ground, or will they ultimately cave and say, fine, we'll take the compensation, which, to be fair, why not? Like, you're not going to win anything. You don't have a football team. You have nothing of value to protect here, or to strive for, or to fight for here. I think it would make, in fact, I'd be begging to trade him. And it's possible they are, and they're playing hardball, and they're just trying to get a better value than what's being offered. But again, I think that would be the counterpoint, as far as, like, I can't think of any other reason why. That would be the reason why, is they're saying we don't want to do that. And to be fair, if you are the the new coach that just got hired. You're not going there to tank. You're going there to win, and it's not up to you. It's up to the GM ultimately. But the new organization is coming in, and they're not saying for my first act, we'll be winning 2 games, and I'll be getting fired after 1 season. They're hanging on. They're clinging for dear life, even if the smart thing might be to long-term move on and get some additional capital, et cetera, et cetera. The likely scenario in my mind is that they're holding out, and they're trying to hold on to him as long as they can. Again, the question then being, who's going to win this standoff? Who's going to win the standoff between Sweat and the Arizona Cardinals, and will they eventually give in, or will Sweat eventually give in and show up to the organization? My guess is we're going to see him show up, but we'll see. I don't know. There's an additional question on top of the question of the question, and that is are the Packers even interested? I agree that Gannon is probably, I don't know how strongly, but it's hard to imagine he wouldn't be in favor of bringing him in. I mean, he brought him to Arizona, and it went pretty well. So unless something went wrong, but I mean, I don't think so. I mean, Sweat, I'm sure, would want to come here in a second. So I mean, everything's all certainly lined up, and then of course you've got the rumors swirling, which the veracity of that I don't know, but the rumors swirling that they are working on a deal and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. My position is I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see how she ends up in the end. Why don't we take a break? We got a couple Garretts on the other side.
Breaking news. J.J. Watt is coming out of retirement to play for the Green Bay Packers as a defensive tackle.
Okay, well, I don't want him, so. Oh, that was the whole call. No, I don't. I mean, J.J. Watt was, he was at the end of his career when he was at the end of his career. You know what I mean? Like, that was winding down pretty quickly a while ago. So I don't know. At this point, I definitely would not have any interest in him. TJ maybe. But not JJ.
Breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Woodson is coming out of retirement to play defensive back.
Don't want
If you haven't already figured it out, Ryan, I'm just saying stuff that is absurd because Aaron Donald decided to tweet about coming back and playing for the Rams. So I'm sure a lot of people are already freaking out, but I don't know. You can always hope. Would I be upset if JJ came back and got signed to play on the line? No. I don't know how much he's got in the tank, but just never know. But just speaking to the absolute absurd moments of how people just are crazy about an overreaction. So I'm out.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird situation because I didn't see much about it. I think the first thing I saw was his wife saying something to the effect of like, "You guys are crazy," as in like, you all are speculating and you're out of your minds because my husband he's not coming back. Like that's never going to happen. But then the next thing I saw was, I don't want to misquote it or whatever, but it was Aaron Donald is sounding kind of like he was thinking about it. And I don't know. I mean, I would guess Aaron Donald has a little bit more to offer at this point than J.J. Watt does. I mean, I don't know. He's been sitting at home for a while, so he might be getting a little squishy. But he's one of those genetic freaks that, as best as I know, was not dealing with the kind of injuries that you saw with J.J. Watt. So that would make me nervous. I would not be happy to see him going back to the Rams at all. I need him to stay away because if nothing else, he should at least be an upgrade over the guys that they have. Charles Woodson and And J.J. Watt, no thank you, though. We just go on record as saying that. Raider McCready.
Ryan Raider McCready. I listened to the pod from the other day and hearing you talk about the potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little interesting thing here. I volunteer at a senior center, and they used to let me make cinnamon rolls for them. And everybody loves my cinnamon rolls, but nobody knows my big secret. So, but I guess I'll let you guys in on it. I make my cinnamon rolls from scratch, and I incorporate potatoes into the bread as I'm making it. So I make potatoes bread, and then I use brown sugar instead of regular sugar when I'm rolling them up. But other than that, that's the only thing that I do differently. But it keeps them super moist and super fluffy. I listened to the podcast about your injection recommendation, and unfortunately, I didn't have time to listen to it and order what I needed, so I had to go on a whim, and I got something off of Amazon. And it was expensive, but it was really good. I don't think that I would ever go back to smoking or replacing it. So, can't wait for Packers content to start ramping up here in the next couple months. So go Pack go.
Oh, I know. I'm getting a little nervous with the actual dead season, but we'll have some fun, no doubt about it. I mean, it's not a ton is going to change. It's a little sad when it actually happens, especially because they kind of do a mini ramp up where there's like news and everybody's back in the facility. They give you a little tease. It's kind of like when the weather turns, and it's like, oh, it's really nice out. Summer's coming or spring is coming, and then -10 blizzard comes flowing through. That's kind of how the NFL season works. But I've never. I mean, I know potato bread is a thing. I guess I never really considered it. And now I'm having this urge to rush off to AI and understand how incorporating potatoes into bread kind of helps things or whatever. I feel like I just got a new level unlocked in my understanding of making stuff. So I'll have to try that. I mean, I haven't made cinnamon rolls, period. Haven't done a lot of baking in general. Cornbread. I was on a cornbread kick for a while. Made biscuits like once. They were very good. I just haven't, and they're super easy to make. I just haven't really done it again. But yeah, not a lot of baking. And then, the injection, I don't know, man. It just, again, I think what most people do, which I'm not really a fan of, to be honest, but they'll pull their pork and then just like season the whole thing and mix it up. I don't really like that. I would rather it be more natural, where you've got like the flavorful bark, but also you've got the pork and you've got the fat and you got all that stuff mixed in. Like if you want to put a separate plate over there with some barbecue sauce on it or something, that's cool. But like I don't want to do the whole thing because now it just feels like, what did we just do this whole time? Like I could have just put this in the oven and then dumped a ton of seasoning and barbecue on it. You'd hardly know the difference. Just covering it in stuff. But when you do the injection, like it's not super, it's just kind of like salting it a little bit. It brings out the flavor a little bit. It makes it a little bit more flavorful. And so it has this feel of like a more natural smoked thing with the pork, with being pork flavor, and then the outside being the smoky, seasoned, barky outside. But it's just the inside that is usually pretty bland is just way more flavorful and delicious. So, yeah, I'm all in on that for sure. Glad I could assist. Well, we have 4 calls left, so why don't we just take a break here and then we'll just speed run through these. We'll be right back.
Daddy!
Yo.
The Reverend Randy Watson just signed his 4-year deal, 110.5, I think, 31 guaranteed. Was that 27 something a year? I got to be honest, man. I've got buddies that harp on him still because of the injury history and fragileness and whatever. And man, there is that to a certain degree, but when he plays, it makes a difference every single time he's on the field. And I feel like he's done the right things, tried to do right by the Packers. I know his old man spouted off a couple of times. It's kind of like off-putting and probably rubbed people the wrong way. But, man, I like Christian Watson.
Right.
And I think he's great. And I think 20.
You'll notice how Christian doesn't jump into these spats. You know, his brother's on there, his mom is on there, his dad's on there, his sister's on there, all to varying degrees. Christian's not. Christian doesn't get involved in these spats.
$7 a year is not that bad of a deal. And if he plays well in a couple of years, that is going to be a steal. Now,
yes.
Again, his history and injury history hasn't necessarily proved that is the likely case, but if for some reason it does happen that way, this is going to end up being a great deal for the Packers. And I think it's a good deal for him. Good deals all around. Everybody have a good day. Let's go. Woo-hoo.
Well, and in reality, either way, it ends up being a pretty good deal because the full deal is not the full deal, right? The guarantees are relatively low. And if he continues playing like he has, where he's here and then he plays well, but it's only for a half a year or whatever, I mean, if he just makes the guarantees plus a little bit here and there, it's not that much money, and the contract is going to be very, very low and probably in and align with what he should be getting. If he earns every dollar of that because he stayed healthy, it's going to be he's going to far beyond, I would say, exceed what the value of that contract is. So either way, I mean, I don't want to say either way I'm good. Of course, I don't want him to get hurt. But as far as the contract, I don't really see a situation where we just get completely screwed on this. I mean, it's a relatively low guarantee contract. And pretty much all the guarantees are already paid. So, you know, if you want to earn the rest, then just stay on the field. It's about that simple.
Hey, Ryan, Beer Cheese Benny here. Christian
Hello.
Watson. All right. Got him for 4 more years. I like the contract, honestly. And I haven't listened to any of your thoughts, podcasts, or really anything. Haven't heard from anybody else. So these are all my own original thoughts.
Great.
I'm an original.
One of a kind.
But I think it's a great contract. And you think about it, he's our number 1 receiver, right?
Yeah.
And we're not even paying him. I mean, he's like middle of the pack in terms of the other wide receivers around the league.
Right.
And he's like not even close to getting paid per year.
Yeah, I'm seeing some people already looking at like the contract and how it's compared to other people. And it's like, first of all, you're looking at the non-guaranteed average per year. Second of all, you're not even comparing guys. I mean, these guys you're comparing to got paid in different years. So it's a different standard. It's so stupid and painful to watch.
Hear what some of the top receivers are, like the big number ones, like, you know, JSN and I don't know, like to name a few, like Higgins maybe, or whoever, Jamar Chase, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think it's a great deal as long as he can stay healthy. I mean, he's dangerous, man. He's a weapon for us, dude. And I really get tired of when people say, well, he's got to get 1,000 yards now. Why? Why does he have to get 1,000 yards just because he was paid all this much? Like, if he gets the touchdowns, it doesn't really matter. And also, even besides that, if he makes a big impact for our team, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many yards he has. He can have 800 yards, 700 yards, but he's the reason we win most games. You know what I mean? So I just hate that argument. It's like, oh, he's got to get 1,000 yards to make it worth it. Like, not really. I don't know where anybody got that idea.
Well, yeah, if he has to get 1,000 yards, what does Jaden Reed have to get? And what is, you know, I mean, if we pay Tucker, what does Tucker have to get? If we're going to pay all these guys, what does everybody have to get based on what they give? Does everybody need to get 1,000 yards? Then God forbid we have to pay Golden too, and everybody else is still paid. Man, they're going to have to pass the ball a lot to get, 4,000 yards across those 4 guys, 1,000 yards each. It's going to be rough.
And especially, you consider that Dobbs is gone. I imagine that Watson's going to get the ball a little bit more. Because, Love really liked to pass to Dobbs. And now hopefully we can kind of figure things out with spreading the ball out to Golden. And, when Kraft comes back, that'll be good. Wonder who our third, Reed. So I think we have a good core of receivers, to be honest with you. And then with Kraft coming back, and even Musgrave, he gets in there and he can make an impact too. I really like our ball catching core that we have, and I think it works. It works for us, and I don't think Packers fans should complain about this contract. And he has been staying healthier. I mean, obviously you had the nightmare ACL or whatever, but he's really kind of gotten that hamstring thing figured out. We haven't really had to deal with a whole lot of that. So, anyways, go Pack, go. Not winning the Super Bowl, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Freaking. All right. Good. That sucks, I guess. Chris from Alabama, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama, man. Just giving an old call, man. I just got the word that the Packers have signed Christian Watson to a 4-year, $110.5 million contract. The only thing I've seen so far is, as far as any type of money up front, has been the $31 million signing bonus. I don't know if he's getting any more guaranteed money on the contract. Hopefully that should come out sometime today. But being as it may, I've already seen a couple of people, a couple of fans, it's just random fans, already talking about the contract, about why we giving so much money, and I don't think he worth that money. He hasn't proven that money. I kind of figured that was coming.
Yeah.
But I knew when JSN signed his contract and that market went up and he reset the market, everything under there is gonna automatically go up. Because I think before that deal, I was saying that Watson probably would get anywhere between 18 to 20. So once JSN signed that deal and it went and the market basically got reset, I was like, oh man, he ain't signing for nothing under 25. Even my son was like, Pop, you sure we gonna give him $25 million? If we want to keep him, we think he the guy. Being what the market is, he ain't gonna have no choice but to give him $25 million. That's gonna be starting point. I feel like the starting price is gonna be $25 million per year, which it would have been either 3 years, $75 million, or a 4-year, $100 million deal. That's what I believe after just going by the market or whatever. Yeah, he wasn't gonna get JSN money, but Alec Pierce got what, 28 a year, 28 a year. I said he's gonna have to get in that ballpark, and then I think Drake London just signed a contract not too maybe a couple days ago or something. So yeah, $27 million, depending on how it's structured. It might be a bargain. I've been seeing some stuff like the Packers probably got off on a bargain on this. So once we get details, if I don't hear the details today for somebody else, you or whoever, but I just want to know how everybody else feels about the contract. I'm cool with the contract. I'm cool with the money. I think that's what it was going to take to keep him if they wanted to keep him. And I think if he come out and play like he played, he'll live up to that contract. But let me know what y'all guys think. Go Pack, go, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of new information. I did say that I don't know for sure that $31 million is all that was guaranteed. I do know that was his signing bonus. It does look like that is the guarantees. Let me just see real quick. So Spotrac has this Christian Watson 4-year, 110.5, 31 signing bonus, average annual salary 27.6. It still doesn't say what the guarantees are, and I think it's being kind of read as because there are no. In other words, if there were further guarantees, it would have been reported. It would have been $31 million signing bonus, $50 million guaranteed. And so I think it's being read as a result, no further guarantees are really expected here. So that was really the only thing that I didn't know. I mean, I don't know the exact layout of the contract, the cap hits per year and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Those level of details have not been laid out. But again, I don't really see a way in which this ends up being a bad contract. I mean, obviously, yes, if he's hurt and can't play ever again, then it's a bad. That's true of everybody. I just mean, again, if the floor is he's hurt about as much as he has been, obviously that sucks, but I think that will be reflected in how much money he ends up actually earning, and it's not going to be $110.5 million. And if he is healthy and he reaches the full amount, again, this is not even a big amount of money. You know, the number being floated around is 15th, but that's not really the right way to put that, because he's competing with guys that signed contracts in previous years. So if you actually look at like percentage of the cap over the course of the cap, and then rank it based on that, he wouldn't be 15th. He wouldn't be in the top 20. He wouldn't, he might be like 30th or something. I don't know, but it's just not a big contract. It's the best way I can say it. I mean, it's a big contract in terms of I'm happy for him, and he's certainly got a lot of money now, and he got a legit first contract. Like it's big from the standpoint of congrats to him for earning this. It's not big in the way that, holy crap, this is detrimental. I can't believe he got this mega. It's not a mega deal. It's not a mega deal. It's a starting contract. That's it. It's a starting contract for a wide receiver. That's what he got. And it is, I have no idea why I just pushed the stop button. I went up here and just clicked stop. Freaking, it is not a mega deal. It is far below what he is when he's playing. Like if you just look at it on a play-to-play, down-to-down, game-to-game basis, where he ranks and where that contract would be, if that's how he was being valued, it would be significantly higher than this. So I don't know what else to add to that. I don't know why anybody would be upset about it outside of, like I said, people in the comments section saying, oh, darn, I wish we would have cut him, which, by the way, and I've said multiple variations of this over the years, but I would just love to have these negative fans actually build a team, because they would just have nobody on their team. There would just be nobody here at Green Bay, because nobody's ever good enough. And they always say things like, well, we would use that money to acquire better players. Would you? Like who? So, okay, let's think this through. You're not signing Watson. Now what? Now what? You just go out and buy somebody off somebody else's roster? Go ahead. Let me see that. I would love to see that. Talk me through that. Who is going to be here instead of not here? Because I know Watson is gone, and some other sucker is going to go pay him a bunch of money, right? So they're suckers, but you're smart, and you're going to build this team. Go. Ready, go. So, I mean, Van Ness is gone. Our offensive line is gone. I'm sure Musgrave is gone. Watson is gone. I'm not sure if Reed is here anymore. Maybe he gets to stick around. Geez, I don't know who. Josh Jacobs, does he get to stay? I don't know how that works. Marshawn Lloyd is obviously gone off this team. Jordan, I mean, obviously you wouldn't have drafted him, so we wouldn't have him, but we don't need to go that far back. I'm guessing he gets to stay at this point, despite your whining and complaining. I'm guessing you're not cutting him, right? Okay. So let's see. Defense, Van Ness is gone. Wyatt, does he get to stay? Maybe. He's good enough to stay. Okay. Corners, they're gone. We don't have any corners right now. We got Cisse and nobody else, because I'm positive you just cut everybody in the corner room. Valentine and Keyshawn are long gone. So we're kind of screwed there for sure. So now we have a huge pile. Well, what we have is a huge pile of dead cap, but let's just assume you just get all that money. Where are we going to buy a brand new team? Who are we buying a new team from? What are you talking about? I just, again, I need there to be a situation where people can actually act out what they're doing. You know what I mean? Because I need to demonstrate. I need to get 50 negative fans, and we need to just start like a multi-year process of day by day they make decisions. And in 5 years, they're going to be the Jets. And I will just celebrate. And it won't be worth much because, well, I wouldn't have done that. Everybody else would have been fine. Then the next experiment is everybody on planet Earth. Okay? And you have to put your name and your face on it. Okay? So you don't get to just disappear into obscurity on social media. Bullcrap. You put your name down here, and I'm not talking to you until you can point me to your profile over there and say, here's my profile, here's my credentials. I'm the guy that built this team. See that? It's a successful team. Anyways, now that I've proven I'm not an idiot and I know what I'm talking about, here's my opinion on things. Because I just think the world would be so much of a better place if every time somebody gave a stupid opinion, you go, what? Let me see your credentials. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do. You know why? Because you're an idiot. You know what you're talking about. You need to shut up forever. Last call, Randy from Minnesota.
Hey, Randy, Minnesota.
What's up, dude?
Well, I had a conundrum come to me. They put Princess Caleb on the cover of Madden.
They did.
I'm a nerd. I like playing Madden.
Okay.
Great time for me just to, get away.
Yeah.
But I got thinking, how am I going to have this clown bear in my house? And I think I came up with a solution. And I'm going to keep it clean so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
I'm going to cut the bear, the Charmin package that my wife brings home from Costco. And I'm going to... And that's just going to remind me that every time I take care of business in the other closet, I can cleanse with Caleb, and then I can flush Ben Johnson. And to me, it's a perfect combination. So anyway, that's my idea of making it through this terrible thing that
can be his next big endorsement deal. Cleanse with Caleb with Bear toilet paper.
Madden did to me. I'm sorry, you got my wife's laughing next to me. And, we're driving. I probably shouldn't have done it now. Anyway, and I'm really, really pumped about Christian's new contract. Super excited about it. Now we got to get Tucker going. Credits to Sal. He called it. He said Christian would be first. So I'll just pass him that on. I thought about that, and Sal was right. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Go, Pat, go. Bye.
Well, yeah, shout out to Sal. First and foremost, Big Sal. Getting her done. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it really is. It's hard because I almost wish it wasn't Caleb, because anything I say is just going to sound like I'm being a biased Packer fan. But I mean, I think, who was it that sent me that? I believe Nico. I think it was Nico. He's been sending me some TikToks, and one of them was a guy, and I don't think he's a Packer fan or anything, but it was genuinely like, this is kind of disgraceful. The Madden cover is and this is kind of what I went through. The Madden cover is a big deal. It should be for either Hall of Famers or guys who had Hall of Fame type seasons, right? You were at least the best at your position. And again, you can point to a couple different things where, well, maybe Peyton Hillis shouldn't have, whatever. But if you were alive back then, the Peyton Hillis hype was out of control. Caleb Williams hype is not that big. It's big in terms of there's some people are trying to bang that drum, but it wasn't like a unanimous, dude, this guy is freaking awesome. In fact, I would say it's 50-50 between people who are trying to talk about how great it is that the guy makes cute-looking passes, and the rest of us who are like, yeah, but he's bad at football, though. So, that's kind of problematic, is it not? But he does not belong on the Madden cover, and that should be relatively unanimous, and it's just biased morons who refuse to acknowledge that this isn't a disgrace to Madden, which, to be fair, I think has kind of disgraced itself over the years anyways. But anywho, I'm going to get out of here. You all have a good rest of your night. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.